Good morning, everybody. Shiur Leilui Nishmatam Shel HaKadoshim, and we are in Parashat Mishpatim. One of the interesting points of Mishpatim is when we look at Am Yisrael said, Na'aseh v'nishma. We'll do and hear. How can you do something if you didn't hear what it's all about? Which is puzzling. And there's this story about this donkey who saw Rava was sitting and learning, and he was sitting on his hands and was so into the learning that blood came out of the fingers. He says, you are hasty, you don't think like you did in Har Sinai, in the Mount of Sinai, received the Torah. You first heard and then you, first you did and then you heard. Who does things like this? And really, it's a good question. How do you know if it's good for you, not good for you? And how do you know what it's all about if you don't listen to all the details? Na'aseh v'nishma. And this reminds me of a story, I think I told it to you in the past, a story about this guy who came from the States for a family visit with his wife and 3 children. And they were going around Israel, enjoying themselves. And when they were flying back, he asked the children, what was the best moment or the day of this tiyul they had, this vacation they had, the holiday? What was the great moment that they had? And he asked the first son, the second son, the third son, and every one of them gave him a different answer, which was very puzzling. The first one said, yes, my father, you know, the most enjoyable moment that I had in this journey was when we went together to see your rabbi. Okay, very nice. No, and what was your? He asked the second son. He says, my moment was when we went to Shchunat Geula in Jerusalem to buy kippah. To buy kippah. Yes, was. Okay. I think what is so beautiful about this. Anyway, he asked the third child, and what was your great moment? He says, when we went on Motzei Shabbos to see our grandma. He was thinking, I don't understand. You know, first of all, those moments, they are not so... Well, we saw so many beautiful things in Israel, and this is what took them. And nevertheless, why didn't they all have one enjoyable moment? Each one of them had a different one. It was thinking, he had a lot of time to think during the flight from Israel to New York. And then he understood what it's all about. He says, wow, when I went to buy the kippot, I didn't go with all 3 of them. I went only with one of them. And the same thing is when I went to see my grandmother, I went only with one of them, the other one. And this was also the same thing when I want to see my rabbi, also with one of them. In other words, the moment that his children loved the most, and when, let's say, the highlight of their holiday, of the vacation, were the moments where they were alone with their father. And this is unbelievable to think about it, how important it is to be with our children, our grandchildren, and sometimes it's not with them together, but give something like to each one of them, like a special private moment with you. This is something that they will appreciate in unbelievable. Really, think about it. I did it with my sons, and I know that I learned with my son and with the others. When I'm with him alone, there is a certain feeling that you haven't got if we're all together. Of course, all together is the best thing in the world, but you need to give this attention to the child, you know. And what is this? This is love. And this is the whole idea. You know, our Father in heaven, He gives each one of us is like an only son, an only child. And each one gets his full attention to whatever we do. We have to put it in our mind. And this is our Father in heaven that loves us. He loves us so much that the moment that He has with us and that we had with Him, we have to appreciate them the most. And this brings us to the other point. Na'aseh v'nishma. How can you do and then listen? Because if your father asks you to do something, and you know that your father loves you, and you love your father, you don't care what it's all about, because you know whatever my father is asking me to do is for the best. And of course I'm going to do it. Then I will listen what's it all about. But that's not what's important. What is important, that Father told me something to do, I have to do it. And not because I have to do it, because I want to do it, because my Father told me that I have to do it. And this is exactly what Am Yisrael said to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Na'aseh v'nishma. Our Father in heaven that loves us so much and gives each and one of them a private attention. And if he asks us something, we know it's good. So we'll do it. Then we'll listen. And I think this is one of the basic explanation of what we're doing in this world. I think we talked about it in the past, because this whole world was created for the human being, for men, the whole world. And you look at it, wow, 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 why do we need all this? What it's all about? And the idea is, like, one of the ideas is, there's a lot of things to, it's very deep, but let's say, look at it, the basic thing. The neshama was sitting up there and enjoying herself. And she felt like ashamed, because she wanted to get close to God, and she got all those beautiful things from God, and she did nothing for it. So God said, you know what? I'm going to create a whole world, and I'll put you in a body, and you will practice mitzvahs, and this will give you the reward of doing it not for nothing, but doing it for something, for a work you put into it. And people ask, 1 minute, the neshama was ashamed because she didn't want a free gift. You know, when somebody gives you something, you don't feel so good about it, because you feel you are dependent on him. Well, he gives me, I owe him now. And people don't like to owe anybody anything. And this is a very interesting point. So God puts us here in this world in order to get the reward, in order to work for what is giving us. But this is ridiculous, because what are we talking about, really? We're talking about 70 years, 80 years, 90 years, 100 years. And what is the reward? Eternity. How can you compare it? It's like you tell somebody, go to the Makolet and bring me a yogurt. And I will pay you $100,000. Why do you do it? Because you want to give him something and you don't want him to feel ashamed. So he says, well, I'll send him to do some mission for me, and then I'll give him the money, and he will think that the money is for the mission that I gave him. But this is an insult. What? You give him somebody $100,000 to bring you a yogurt that is worth 2 shekels, 5 shekels, 10 shekels, 20 shekels? And he is not going to be ashamed to get it this way? Of course he's going to be ashamed. Not only this, it will tell you what? You're insulting me. What do you think, I'm stupid? You want to give me $100,000? Give me the $100,000 and don't send me to do this stupid thing, thinking that I will think that this is the reason you're giving me the $100,000. This is ridiculous. This is really like I'm going to be more ashamed than before. You're insulting my intelligence. So what it's all about? You know what it's all about? When a father gives his son, buys a son a flat, a house, or whatever, does the son feel ashamed that his father gave it to him? Huh? No. Why not? You know why not? Because he knows my father loves me and I love him. And when people love, they don't do calculations. They just give whatever they can. This is exactly the idea why we're here in this world. Lidabek b'Hashem, to stick ourselves to God. And how do you stick yourself? With love. In other words, whatever we do in this world is not for the reward. It's because God wants to give us. He wants us to learn and to show him our love. And when we do whatever he tells us to do in this world, we are showing the love. And this is a point very interesting. Because some people do it because they want a reward, or they're afraid that God is going to punish them. It's a level, but it's a very low level, because that's not the reason we are here. We're here to develop the love to God. And when we do this, then whatever God is giving us, this is love. This is love. The whole thing is built on love. As we were talking, Am Israel received the Torah last week, and they're getting the Mishpatim. And there is also another interesting point. Ele ha-mishpatim asher tasim lifnehem. He says, lifnehem, velo lifnei ovdei avodah zarah. Those are the laws you put in front of Am Israel. we would expect to have laws that are religious mitzvahs like tzitzit, mezuzah, tefillin, Pesach, whatever is religious, that is a mitzvah that only the Jewish nation are doing. But instead we see in the Parsha, it's all full with mitzvahs that in every normal society will have those laws. So why lifnehem? What is so special about this that you are allowed only to put it in front of Am Yisrael and you're not allowed to show it to the Goyim? To the point that Rashi explains to us that you're not allowed to go to court of the Goyim. I'm not going to go to all this, what does it mean exactly, but the idea is that even if the mitzvahs, the laws, look the same as the Goyim, they are not the same. They are different. And this is something we have to put in our mind. We have to put in our mind to understand that we are different from the others. Every time that we try to be like them, to mingle with them, because we're all people, we're all human beings. So what's the problem? Look around and see. Why do they hate us? We're the same. We are not the same. And every time we try to be like them, trouble comes. And I'm not going to go into all the history, we all know it. When in Germany they started mingling in the German society because the honorable, intelligent, sophisticated Germany, which was with all the manners and all this beautiful culture, gave the Jews the freedom to do whatever they want. And then, a few years later, what happened? The Nazis came and slaughtered 6 million people of our nation. We have to understand, we are not like them. Our laws are not like their laws, even if it looks from outside the same. If you go dig in, we'll understand there's a big difference. I'm not going to go into it now. The point is, for Am Yisrael is only one way, the Torah. There is no other way. Unfortunately, we see in the last generation that the deteriorated of the behavior of everything that has to do with the Jewish tradition, with the Torah. Adata. You want to force us to be religious. Like Khomeini and all those words that we see and hear. Everything had a contact with Torah. And look where it brought us. What did Avraham Avinu say to Avimelech? רק אין יראת אלוקים במקום הזה והרגוני הדבר אשתי. You have everything. You have manners. You have judges. You have court. You have everything. Mishpatim, you have mishpatim. But there is something missing. Yirat Elokim. There is no fear of God. This is all from the egoistic point. And the minute something is going to interfere in your own life, you're going to kill me. And that's what happens all over again and again and again. Did we not learn the lesson? And the lesson is, first of all, love. The basic is love, to love each other. Even if we have different opinion, we have to love each other. And connect this love with the Torah, and we are winning. Look what's happening now. You hear all Am Yisrael, except of a minority that do a lot of noise. And we have to really, it's hard to say, but we must go on with the way that we see that the majority are going, helping each other. Am Yisrael are one. And only if we are one together, then we're going to win. And if we take the Torah and understand that we are different, look at our history, look where we came from, and look what's happening now. So many people are starting to believe. Tzitzis, tefillin, praying. You know, a lot of yeshivas, koilelim, are opening now for the other people. Which reminds me another story. A guy comes to a town. I don't know if I told it to you. And they're giving water to drink, but the water is dirty. You cannot drink it. He says, you have to purify the water. What's this? You cannot use water like this. 3-4 years later, he comes by again, and he sees the whole town was burned down. He says, what happened here? He says, you told us to purify the water. Till we purified the water, the whole town was burned. There was a fire, but we had to purify the water. He says, stupid! Who is purifying water if you have fire? If you have fire, you turn off the fire, you take the water you've got, and you... And this was said in a convention of Agudat Israel before many years, when they had a problem, the same as we have today. A lot of people of Am Israel were going in the wrong way, were mingling with the Goyim, and they wanted to bring them back to do tshuva. So they said, we have to send messenger, people that are going to show them the right way, what it's all about, what's the Torah. Like we have Arachim today, and Hidabrut, and so many other things, that Baruch Hashem are doing a great job. But then some rabbi get up and says, no, you cannot just send anybody. You have at least to learn 10 years in yeshiva, and then. And the other rabbi got up and told this story. The fire is burning. The fire is burning now. We don't wait 10 years. We've got nobody to save. It's going to burn everything. We save people now. Everybody, each one of us got whatever we've got. With the little we know, we go and have this influence on others. No excuses. Who am I to tell my friend, my family the right way? Who? You are the child of God. God gave us the Torah. And with the Torah and with the love for each other, and the understanding that even if I don't know everything, I believe in God. I try to go in the way of the Torah. Let's show the beauty of the Torah to our people. Each one in a small way, which is going to build it together. To prevent those voices to influence us in the wrong way. Let's put our voices in. As we said, remember, we are not like the Goyim. Even with things that look the same, we are not the same. We are the light of the world. We want everybody to be with us. That's the Chazon Acharit Hayamim. We don't hate them. Chas v'shalom. We love everybody. But we have to understand there is only one way. This is our way. We got a mission. We got a mission to show the world the right way. So first of all, let's show our people the right way. And don't say, who am I? Each one of us is got this emunah. Show others. Be'ezrat Hashem, when we do this, we will have the Geulah b'mehera b'yameinu. Amen. All the best. Shefa, Baruch v'atzlucha.